What's up, everybody on YouTube? AJ was about to discuss another video, and today we'll be talking about how the NBA is taking Damian Lillard for granted and why I believe he's the most disrespected superstar in NBA history. I know a lot of y'all are probably about to say, man, AJ, what are you talking about, bro? He's a 7-time NBA All-Star, one of the best shooters in the league, which we know. And he's regarded as one of the top 5 point guards in the league, which he has been for years. But in my opinion, people aren't really talking about him as much as he should. Of course, he's in a small market. We all know that. His team really isn't a contender. They used to be on the bubble a little bit, you know, being like a 4 seed, a 3 seed. But they really slipped down in the past couple of years. Of course, he had an abdominal injury in 2022. But I believe that Damian Lillard he is an all-time great point guard. Obviously, he was on the 75 NBA team last year, but we just have to talk about it more, and we're going to dive into that. This year, in his 11th season, he's averaging 31 points per game, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists per game, and essentially shooting 47% from the field. And we also know that all-time, he's one of the greatest three-point shooters ever, like I noted earlier. He's currently in the 6th spot, and certainly he'll move up behind shooters like Kyle Korver, Reggie Miller, James Harden, Ray Allen, and of course, Steph Curry, who's changed the game from the three-point line. But I think a lot of people need to give Damian Lillard his credit on also the way that he's transformed the three-point line. Now, obviously, he's miles and miles below Steph, but I think that even Dame, you have the argument that he's really a top 5 shooter, and you could make the argument, which I don't think is outlandish, that he might even be a better shooter than Clay. Yeah, y'all might be like, oh my gosh, this guy's tweaking, but like seriously, if you look at it, Dame is that guy. There's a fear factor, of course, in the three-point line that Steph gives opponents, but Dame also has that as well because he pulls up from the parking lot too. But we're not even going to be talking about the three-point wise. We're going to get into his stats and why I think that he is basically the most underrated and most disrespected and taken for granted superstar of all time. So right now, the Portland Trailblazers, they're the 12th seed right now. They're not really going to do much. If they miss the playoffs, I mean, no one's really going to be surprised. The Western Conference is super stacked, as we know right now, with all the trades that went down at the trade deadline. People like Kevin Durant going to the Suns, you know, Kyrie Irving, the Lakers made some deals. Russell Westbrook going to the Clippers. We'll see if that has any impact. I don't know if it will too much, but I mean, crazy things have happened. And Westbrook isn't washed. He's still a good player, I feel like, off the bench, but we're not going to expound on that. We're talking about Damian Lillard. I really don't think the Trailblazers are going to make the playoffs, even if they're, you know, a couple games back of the 6th seed, the 7th seed, because all the Western Conference teams, they're neck and neck with each other. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Dame has had some moments in the playoffs when he hasn't been the best. I remember, I believe in 2018, I think it was either 2018 or 2019. I'm pretty sure it was 2018, because yeah, 2019 they made the Western Conference Finals, which, you know, the Warriors, they were a juggernaut, but they lost to the Raptors because Kevin Durant got hurt. But we, like I said, we don't have to dive into these things, but they made the Western Conference Finals that year. But in 2018, they lost against the Pelicans. They were swept by the Pelicans in the first round, and that looked really bad, honestly. It was basically Dame and CJ McCollum were getting outplayed by Rajon Rondo, and of course Anthony Davis was going crazy. That was like the season before his last year in New Orleans, so that was crazy, but that wasn't his best moment. But he's also had times of clutchness, like we know against the OKC Thunder when he sent Westbrook home, when he sent Paul George home. That was great. Also back in 2014 in his 2nd season, which was crazy, made a clutch shot over the Rockets. And just throughout times in the playoffs and throughout his career, I mean, he's proven to be clutch. So we know Damian Lillard is one of the best clutch players, but he hasn't been past the Western Conference Finals. And even that season, I think a lot of people didn't think that they belonged there because, I mean, the Warriors, they were a juggernaut. They really weren't going to do anything there, and they just really haven't had enough in Portland. So that's why a lot of people have been like, he should get out, but his loyalty might be his biggest downfall. But hey, you got to respect it for him. But I just feel like Dame, that's why he's getting not necessarily discredited, but why he's getting taken for granted, because I mean, a lot of people just look to other players and superstars. You know, you got people like Ja Morant, young point guard, drafted in 2019, got his own signature shoe and everything like that, electrifying player, box office. People are going to talk about him more, about Luka Doncic more, rightfully so. I think Luka is easily top 3 to top 5, and you could make the argument that he's the best player in the league right now, so they're going to be talking about people like him. Of course, Jason Tatum has emerged in the past couple of years. Of course, Kevin Durant. So there's a lot of different people, and Damian Lillard, I mean, with the Portland Trailblazers basically being the same team every single year, I mean, a lot of people aren't going to be trending towards that. I mean, the Blazers, they have some solid pieces around Dame, but in order to win a championship, you can't be solid. You have to be great and be a cohesive unit. And Shaedon Sharpe, he's a really good rookie. Yeah, I like him for the Trailblazers, me personally. The Anthony Simons essentially replaced CJ McCollum, just being a younger, electrifying, scoring shooting guard. I think he's really underrated. He's really good. Jeremy Grant, he's great. He's a good, I'd say, power forward. Of course, he played in the USA basketball team. He had that one good year a couple of seasons ago. But I think he's solid, but he's not someone who's just going to shift the balance of power. Like, he's probably a 3rd to 4th best player on the championship team, and he's maybe the 2nd or 3rd right now on the Blazers, but that's not enough. Like, and I don't know. See, the argument for Dame, if he could be the best player on the championship team, it just depends on who you have around him. I mean, 2nd for sure, that would be a championship team, but Yeah, and like I said, Anthony Simons has gotten better. Nurkic, he's a solid big man, but I mean, nothing crazy. His defense is pretty suspect at times, so we can really talk about that. You put him on the perimeter, he'll get cooked. So when you look at that roster, it's not enough, man. And Damian Lillard is 32 years old. He turns 33 in July. He's not getting any younger, and his game doesn't necessarily rely on athleticism, so I think he'll age gracefully and still be able to dominate throughout this season and the next few years, honestly, because like I said, his three-point shooting ability is crazy. He can create out the dribble, create separation, so he's going to continue to get buckets, I believe, for the next few seasons. But I could honestly see the Trailblazers and him mutually parting ways, but it's just tough because Dame, he's so prideful. I mean, he got that Oakland swag to him, that Oakland nature. That's where he's from, and he's loyal to Portland. I mean, he's been there 11 years, so I mean, I admire that about him. But I feel like if he were, not necessarily traded, or, well, yeah, I mean, he had to be traded, of course, AJ, but if he was traded to like a bigger market, or even just with a team with a better system, with better talent around them to win a championship with him basically added, he would get more recognition. And of course, like I said, Damian Lillard got selected to the NBA all-time 75 team last year in 2022, so he is getting recognition, I will say that. But at the same time, like, we're not talking about him as much. Like, he's had numerous 50-point games this year, and they really flew under the radar. I will say there have been a ton of people who have had 50-point games this season. In particular, of course, Damian Lillard, but also Luka Doncic, Giannis, Klay Thompson, Devin Booker, Pascal Siakam, Steph Curry. I mean, the list really goes on. But also, Damian Lillard had a 60-point game this year too, and I remember seeing some things about it on social media, but like, say if it was Luka, if it was LeBron, I mean, everybody would post about it, but he wasn't really getting that much of recognition. And I just really don't get it, because like I said, you could make the argument, honestly, in my opinion, this is going to stir some people wrong, but I mean, obviously Kyrie won a championship with LeBron, but I mean, I wouldn't be insane or mad if someone said that Damian Lillard was better than Kyrie. Because, I mean, let's be real. I mean, Damian Lillard individually, he's been great. He's been trustworthy. Like I said, he's been productive. He's had his share of injuries sometimes, but most of the time throughout his career, he's been available and reliant and been able to carry teams as far as they could get. Because, like I said, he's always needed more talent. Speaking specifically, Damian Lillard has had 14 50-point games throughout his career. He had a 60-point game, like I said, this season and also back in 2019. So, I mean, his ability to get buckets is like no other. I mean, he scores effortlessly. I mean, he's made 11 three-pointers multiple times throughout his career in games. And also, when he shoots at that volume too, it's hard to stop him, because he's had games where he's shot over 60% from the field from three. Like, that's insane. And not just shooting like 1 to 5 attempts, like he's shooting 10 plus attempts and shooting at that efficiency. So I'm telling you, Damian Lillard, he's cut. And if y'all don't know what I mean by cut, I mean basically he's valid, of course. I really think in the grand scheme of things, when you look at Damian Lillard's career so far, the only thing, like I said, he's missing is a championship. Of course, similar to Chris Paul, I will say Chris Paul, I guess he's had more of an impact on teams, but at the same time, you could put their resumes together. And Chris Paul, he has a lot of, the floor general aspects of his game, a lot of, top accolades and assist leaderboards and things like that. But I mean, if you look at it, I mean, for me, in my opinion, I mean, you could take Damian Lillard, like I said, over Chris Paul, and I wouldn't be mad at you. Really, that's the biggest thing, and I feel like that's why he's getting taken for granted, essentially, because he's in a small market. His teams are lackluster at best at times. In the past few years, like I said, they've been in playing position or just not making the playoffs at all. So, like, in the first year of the play-in tournament when it was implemented, I mean, they were there playing against the Grizzlies and things like that, and just ended up losing to the Lakers in the first round. Remember that series in the bubble when the Lakers went on to win a championship? But I mean, they just been in that position, and if you're like just constantly being mediocre or barely scraping by in the playoffs, I mean, I'd rather be trash. I'd rather be like the Rockets or someone like that, because like, there's no point. You're either competing or you're not good. I mean, you don't want to be in between, because that's terrible. So I feel like that's where the Blazers have been for like 3 years now at this point. So I feel like, will Damian Lillard, will his loyalty be the downfall? So that's essentially my take on Damian Lillard being disrespected. Not only disrespected, but being taken granted, because basically because his team. That's why I think it is, honestly, in my opinion. By the end of his career, I feel like he'll be top 3 in terms of all-time three-point lists. Behind Steph Curry, and then James Harden is already up there. So I mean, Damian Lillard could pass to James Harden in theory. We don't know, but yeah, Dame. I mean, he's really that guy. Like I'd say, I could make the argument that he's a better three-point shooter than Klay Thompson, which is absurd to a lot of people. But I mean, really, is it really, bro? At the time of this recording, this is the first day back from the NBA All-Star break and All-Star weekend that took place in Utah last weekend. So we'll see what happens with the Trailblazers. I mean, they could go on a run and make the playoffs, but I mean, it's the same thing. Do you really have them beating teams like the Nuggets, the Grizzlies, of course, the Suns, the Mavericks? I mean, even the Lakers. I mean, the Lakers, they're, of course, battling to try to avoid playing seed. They made some good trades, I would say. But, I mean, like I said, if you're mediocre fighting for a playing spot, I mean, do you really have a chance. I mean, I guess this season you can make an argument for it, but not the Blazers, bro. I really don't think that they would do anything. So they just need to, in my opinion, just see where things are with their organization after this season. But I know one thing: Damian Lillard is taken for granted for sure in the league, but he's one of the best players that I've seen. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Is Damian Lillard being taken for granted? Is he the most disrespected superstar of all time? Let me know in the comments down below. Let's talk. In my opinion, he is, and I think there is conclusive evidence that he is because of his team circumstance and, you know, all the teams that he's had around him, and of course him being able to carry them, but just not having enough talent. But y'all let me know in the comments down below what you think. I appreciate you guys always watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at SwaggyRuss, and also on TikTok at SwaggyRuss02 for cooking content, shorts, and things of that nature. Like I said, every single video, I'm grateful for y'all. I love y'all. Hope y'all are blessed, doing great. Know that I'm here for y'all. Y'all can talk to me at any time. And yeah, just appreciate it, y'all. Like I said, this year is gonna be great for all of us. Blessings, nothing but blessings. Y'all be blessed. Love.